Previously on Sensei Seth Reacts.
Don't make me put on sunglasses! This guy should just get punched. Look at his hair! That would definitely be enough. That would hurt. They're all on bikes. What are they gonna do? Just... Okay, so this next fight scene comes from Pineapple Express.
He's lying to us, man. He is lying to us. No, he's not.
So things are escalating. If you have the conscious mind to like notice that he's starting to fidget around with stuff, you should probably notice that he's about to pick something up. Be wary that he's going to try and throw it at you or hit you with it.
What are you doing, man? He's sorry.
Interesting. Buddy's getting attacked. He jumps on the back, rides him like a horse. At this point, if you've got, as Steven Strangles would call it, a rear strangle, if you've got the back and you're kind of getting flung around, you're worried about getting dumped on the back and slamming you on both your backs, which is kind of like what most people tend to think, is they think, oh no, somebody's on my back, and then they do one of these. So instead, if you've got it and you're on their back a bit, you could start to try and kick out the back of the knee so you get a buckle. And rather than them jumping up and putting both the weight on them, you could kind of like control it on the way down. And that happened. Oh! He'd be done. 100%, that guy's not moving anymore. He hit his head on the inside of the sink, a porcelain sink. At this point, you want to hang out of range of hands. If you've got this kind of leverage, this kind of pressure, you don't really want to climb up like you would probably want to do in jiu-jitsu and kind of like get a higher position so it's harder to get bumped off. If you were a guy on bottom, you probably want to see if you can get your hip sideways and then trim out. Instead, he just bench presses him off. Goes for he catches the foot and then he just slings him up with superhuman strength. Usually if you do get the catch off the teep, you can run through it. You can try and lift the leg up above your head and then just take off. He decides to just be incredibly strong, which I guess if you can do it. Oh.
Was that too much?
Yeah, I would say the whole thing was too much. Anyway, okay, our next submission is Star Trek. Kirk versus Gorn. You could argue that Star Trek's kind of an action series, but this is thought by a lot of people to be one of the worst action scenes of all time. What does he throw away there? Okay, probably a good idea. That stick looks like it's not going to do much. It's probably going to break away pretty easy. This guy's got a much bigger stick and hamstrings for days. Great googly moogly. Look at the definition in those hammies. Okay. Good idea. Get behind cover, kind of like circle around on the opposite side. You could do that all day. Are they supposed to be on a planet where gravity affects them differently, maybe? Or is it just supposed to be that slow? If it's just supposed to be that slow, just walk somewhere else at a medium pace. He goes for the double-handed back fist. I think a double-handed back fist is probably less useful than a single-handed back fist. A lot of the power that comes from strikes is from being able to rotate the opposite side. So like a back fist, you kind of go pull. This is just kind of being like, I'm gonna dedicate a lot of my weight to hitting somebody. And that doesn't usually work out for the best. If it's that slow, definitely don't throw slow kicks at it, because obviously if it's that slow, it's probably supposed to be strong in nature. All right, we get in the clinch. Now, it looks like Kirk has got inside positioning here. Ideally, we'd like to get this hand wrapped around the base of the neck, even to the back of the head, so we can start to pull that clinch down, break down the posture. Not a bad position. Pretty much the strength would probably be a pretty bad thing to have to work with. He's got a frame on the inside. You want to start to work that out. But if he's that strong, he's that strong, you know? Going for the bite now, the Mike Tyson. If somebody's got you in a position, you've got an elbow inside, going here to break posture, great idea. Double ear smack. I don't know how sensitive his ears are. Probably a good idea. I mean, obviously it worked. Maybe this is a different planet where like the mass is different, the gravity's different, because that rock should probably not be that heavy. It doesn't really make a ton of sense that if a rock is that heavy, you have to like... and then you can just launch it. Just like... Also, if you're going to throw stuff at people from that far away, maybe don't make it super obvious that you're going to throw stuff by picking it up over your head. Why are you still standing there, man? Look, if you know something's going to happen, Miyagi-Do, best defense, no be there. Get out. Also, the size, the strength difference doesn't make any sense. If their ability to pick up rocks is indicative at all of their difference in strength, Gorn had a body lock on Kirk and he was able to frame out, but the rock, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, just get out, man. Oh, that's it. Okay. Okay, this one's from Bridget Jones's diary. Okay, Mark challenges Daniel to a fight.
Should have done this years ago.
Done what?
At that point, you know he's trying to fight you. Done what maybe is a way of like de-escalating the situation by making it seem like, do what? Say it out loud. Rationalize your thoughts.
This.
Oh, well, you should have maybe seen it coming when you walked close to the person who I think challenges him to a fight.
All right, Cleaver, outside.
I'm sorry? Outside? Should I bring my dueling pistols?
So you know that he's going to try and fight you. Why would you get into this range, hear him say that, and not think that he was going to punch you?
May that hurt. Oh. What do you think you're doing?
This.
Why are you there? Like...
A moment, break here, okay?
So obviously both people took Taekwondo. Okay. I don't think this is too unrealistic, honestly. Terrible? Yes. Unrealistic? No, not really for people who don't know how to fight and like don't have the greatest intent of hurting each other. Makes its way into the restaurant. Are we gonna have some punches? Goes for a kick to the groin, pushes him off.
I really am sorry.
Interesting that they have the presence of mind to recognize that they're bothering people around them, but they also still want to fight. Usually fights are kind of things fueled by rage, not by conscious thoughts. Or at least not by regular people, maybe psychos.
Quite, if that's all right by you.
You broke my bloody jaw!
Ooh. Interesting. Definitely not the worst fight scene I've ever seen. Pretty enjoyable. Not terribly unrealistic. Okay, so this one you could argue maybe comes from an action scene. Very cool fight scene, Sherlock Holmes. Parrying a ton. From what I've heard, RDJ takes Wing Chun. So all the parrying and the blocking, the slapping of the skin, very Wing Chun-y. You could say that's kind of Wing Chun-y. You could also, it's also reflective of Bartitsu given the time and being that allegedly Sherlock Holmes's made up style was Baritsu. Bartitsu being the actual thing. Don't ask me why I know that. Goes for the block from the hook punch by going both hands attack towards the hook punch. So interesting there, the guy shoots for a double. Instead of going for a guillotine, he then uses it, combs the hair, frames off, and instead of keeping the frame and trying to break the grips from there, he starts attacking the back of the neck, something that's illegal in the UFC. I guess it did the job. Not a lot of damaging blows coming from RDJ, or Sherlock. With a guy like this, you're kind of just pestering him, and maybe the goal is to just pester him until he eventually runs out of steam. It's a much bigger guy. You definitely don't want to be in this scenario. Framing out from that position would be pretty difficult unless you caused enough like pain or discomfort on the face that you could get them to peel their head back, because that's a big size difference there. Probably shouldn't pay attention to things around you.
Distract target. Then block his blind jab. Counter with cross to left cheek.
Not across.
Discombobulate.
So he goes block down on the jab, which is almost unheard of, especially from a stance that's lower to block down on a jab. Then he goes for a vertical fist.
Cross to left cheek.
Bomb on the cheekbone, pretty cool.
Discombobulate.
Smacks him in the ears.
Haymaker. Employ elbow block. And body shot.
I don't hate that.
Left. Weaken can write jaw.
See, the ability to block these things from these angles would insinuate that he's punching, one, kind of soft, and two, at your shoulders, which kind of is. Watch. Throws this punch low into the shoulder.
And body shot.
Very easy to block it that way. Other one comes low into the shoulder.
We can write jaw.
Oh, maybe it's to the head. Interesting. I mean, super Wing Chun-y there.
Now fracture.
Crack.
Break cracked ribs.
And then he goes for...
Traumatize solar plexus. Dislocate jaw entirely. Heel kick to diaphragm. In summary, ears ringing, jaw fractured, 3 ribs cracked, 4 broken, diaphragm hemorrhaging. Physical recovery 6 weeks.
I don't think, no matter how smart you are, you can't just like slow motion see things. That doesn't really come with wit. It comes more with experience in fighting. I do think that there's some fighters who see things at a different pace because of muscle memory, range management, where they just like understand ranges and distances. They understand how punches start. So like that little tell of my shoulder means that it could be a cross, it could be a hook. It's gonna be something with that side. Knowing that I'm loading up over here probably means I'm throwing something with this hand. It doesn't really come down to wit though, but it seems he's practiced a lot. Now let's see what it looks like full speed. I do like how, as a shorter fighter, he used Wing Chun to have a bunch of vertical. You call this like an upside down jab if you want. You vertical fist, stuff like that. Very interesting take on a fight scene, which we don't really see very often. Okay, so now we're on to Step Brothers. At this point, you probably want to try and turn in, get your back to the wall, shell up. You can start to fight the stuff. You don't want to be like pressed up against the wall. You could try and get one hip against the wall. This way you can still cover up your chin, your face a little bit more, but you're not like squished up like this. Goes to the back elbow, not a terrible idea. If you're at this range right here and you're Will Ferrell, the guy's got underhooks, he's kind of putting his hand on your chest, you probably just want to swing those elbows around and just start throwing bows. Boom, boom, at some point, bam, bang, throw that elbow. One of the main rules for takedowns is that if you are fighting in a non-competitive environment, most likely you don't want to go down with the takedown. So Will Ferrell here should, instead of be turning this way, he should turn the opposite direction, face him, and then shrimp out jiu-jitsu, you know, whatever. Okay, so now they both have distance weapons. They get in close again, they tie up. Okay, so perfect example of why you don't want to hang out right at the edge of the weapon. This is Ness versus Peach in Smash Bros. If you get that, you're a real one. Okay, so we got Bob Barker versus Happy Gilmore. Nice. Now this is a very interesting scenario because you're paired up with this person for a long period of time. You're kind of supposed to be quiet and to yourselves, but you have communication with this person. If they start bothering you, there's no really outlet to be like, I'm gonna be out of here. You probably could, but it makes sense that this kind of thing could start to fester and eat away at each other.
All right, let's go.
Now, there's really no way of knowing that one could have came because he took a whole lot of emotional damage and then all of a sudden he was like, all right, that's enough. Bang, and he punches him. He doesn't really give him a ton of cue to expect that punch.
I want the whole thing.
Now, he should have known that was coming. He should have expected. He was talking to him. I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing. Walks up, uppercut to the body. Right hook. Jab, 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 jab. Maybe parry, maybe block. Do something. Quit just taking damage, Happy. Finish it with a cross. Still got the stance on. Bomb, bomb. Nice takedown.
The price is wrong.
You get the single hand choke. Let's just try and break the grip. Pull to the thumb side. Pretty easy. Single hand chokes are kind of hard to like keep on. You get the elbow down pin to the body. You try and manipulate across from the thumb. So you go boop, and you pull it out just like that. And you keep it here. And then you kind of adjust and you do stuff with the other hand. Bomb, bomb, bang.
I think you've had enough. No?
Good point there. Don't get up on your hands and knees facing your target. Ideally, you do with the whole like surfer guy stand up where you get up, you have the frame in between, your body sideways, you can kind of guard rather than getting up like this.
Now you've had enough.
All right, and that was part 2 of fight scenes and non-fight movies. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. If you have other stuff that you want me to react to, please comment it down below. Until next time.